Hi, today our topic is distributed cache implementation in ASP.NET Core 6.0. Before we discuss about the distributed cache, let's try to understand what is a cache. Caching is a technique used to manage frequently accessed data in memory. What does it mean? I want to use a cache. When I'm going to use a cache is going to be used if I want to reduce the number of hits to the database. By reducing the number of hits to the database, we can improve the application performance. To improve the application performance, we need to reduce the number of hits to the database. What type of data we need to store in cache? So, like master data. Let's suppose I have a product list which I am going to use throughout my application. This is my master data. Products list is my master data. I need to use this whenever I need it. So whenever I need it, I'm hitting to the database to get the data. I'm using it. So in every action method of an API, I'm hitting to the database and getting the data, right? So storing into our memory. By doing that way, we are increasing the number of hits to the database. This can be avoided if you use caching. That's why caching is a technique used to manage frequently accessed data in memory by storing it in memory. Let's suppose I have a product list as shown in the figure. I have a product list. I'm storing the product in my main memory. Whenever I hit the database and get the data, it's stored in my memory. If I use a cache, I can avoid the number of hits to the database. I can store the data in my cache memory. So when I need product list, instead of going to the database to get the data, I can go and get the data from the cache memory. So that way we can improve the application performance. If you see the definition, cache is the process of storing data or files in a temporary storage for a specific period so that from the next time onwards, when the data is requested, it can be provided from this temporary storage instead of database or from a original file. So that way we can reduce the number of hits to the database, and also we can improve the application performance. So this is about cache. So this is nothing but storing the data within the application memory. If suppose your application is using the multiple app servers, is hosted in multiple app servers, in such a case, definitely we need to use distributed cache. Suppose there are multiple requests can come from application server 1, which can use the distributed cache. The data which is stored in the distributed cache can use it. If the requests are coming from the application server 2, can also use the data which is stored in the distributed cache. So this is the advantage with the distributed cache. So a distributed cache is a cache shared by multiple app servers, typically maintained as an external service to the app servers that access. A distributed cache can also improve the performance and scalability of the application, especially when app is hosted by a cloud server or a server farm. Okay, so how many ways we can improve the distributed cache? A distributed cache can be implemented in various ways. If you see this approach, distributed cache can be implemented with the help of SQL Server. So SQL Server cache we can use it. Distributed Redis cache we can use it. Distributed and cache also we can use it. These are the various packages that are required when you are going to use distributed cache, SQL Server cache. If you are using Redis cache, we can use this package to install, and we need to implement it. Okay, the base for all these different type of packages is iDistributed cache. Definitely iDistributed cache is an interface which needs to implement in your application to perform some actions on the actual cache. So I-distributed cache interface has various methods. Get and get async. These methods are used to get the data from the cache. If we want to store the data into the cache, we can use set async. If you want to refresh the data within the cache, we can use refresh or refresh async. Totally, if you want to remove the data from the cache, we can use remove or remove async. If you are using this cache, definitely the data is going to be stored in a key value pair format. So every key is going to represent the data which you are storing. Whenever it is storing this data, it is going to store in the form of a byte array. So this byte array is going to be linked with a key, right? So this is the main I-distributed cache interface need to be implemented for using the cache.